Akpos is back again, but this time as a waiter. If you've been following the Akpos trend, you know that he had done a movie on a trip to Jamaica, 10 days, no, sorry, 10 days to Sun City, I've been in Sun City, then I think 30 days in Atlanta, and a host of other merry men. So this time around, Akpos is back again, but as a waiter. So if you haven't seen the movie, I'll give you the full gist of what the movie is about. Akpos AY Ayomakun is person referred to as Akpos. So the first scene shows us that there's a military shootout. The soldiers are trying to rescue people, or so we thought, only to realize that it was a setup. Well, and then we say that Akpos was on his way to work on this particular day, fateful day. In fact, as he was going, apparently even the people in his area, he was just greeting right, left, right, center, and then we realized that there was even somebody who was still owing money, and he was reassuring the person that I haven't forgotten I'm owing you money, but when I'm back from work, I would see you. You'd see that he's back with his hustling spirit, and he bought a taxi, only to realize that he was in the middle of two men, and they all looked funny. He could sense that something was off, and he was like, because he had he was street smart. He could sense that something was off, and he was like, driver, I hope you're not doing what I think you want to do, because why are you not passing the normal routes? And that one said, oh, there is traffic on the normal routes. And he said, how do you know there's traffic on the normal route? It was even strange to me. Traffic in Abuja, that would be very, very strange and unusual. And it's like, how did you know? Do you have spiritual GPS? And it was then a person that, of all people to kidnap, you think you can kidnap me? Never. And, he got himself out of it. As he got down from the taxi, about 5 seconds later, the taxi caught fire. It was so shocking and strange to me. Anyways, he headed straight to work, only for us to realize that he was going to work as a waiter at the Crystal Valley Hotel. And that same day, a minister was to come in to have a meeting with journalists, and a meeting about poverty alleviation scheme that the government had put forward, in order to make sure that they give out funds to people that really needed it and all of that. So while they were at that place, they were trying to make sure that the security were in check. That's where Deyemi, the actor, comes in. We realize that Deyemi is here as the head of security for the hotel. But because a minister was coming in, obviously the federal government had to provide their own higher level of security. So that was put in place. And here comes this man. I'm trying to remember his name. I think his name is Gegri something. I can't remember now. Who claims that, he was more skilled in the job than Deyemi, and Deyemi and his boys should bounce. However, Deyemi felt there was no need for them to bounce. They were the hotel security workers or agents or whatever you call them, and they just felt that they should work hand in hand. They knew the hotel, and these people were visitors. You're only coming to secure the hotel for the day, so we should work hand in hand. Boom. As a proud Oga that he was, he said no. And Deyemi excused, even though he was displeased. Then would see that Efe calls her brother, who is Efe? Efe is played by Real Warri Pekin. She calls her brother all the way from Warri and told her brother that, the crisis has started again. Their mother is ill again. They're rushing her to the hospital. And you guys really need to go see this scene. It was so funny where she said, I want to take transport my leg, give mama to work. Now I did think so. It was so funny. Apparently their mother had been having quite a number of episodes, and they've been frequenting the hospital. So, and she claimed she didn't even have any money, and obviously the hospitals were no charity organization. So the brother needed to send him money, and he said, okay, well, there is no time you ever have money. You're always broke, but I'll see what I can do before the end of today. I'll transfer money. And he spoke to his mother, tried to, cheer her up and told her to be strong for them. We saw all of that, and we saw how Deyemi went ahead to expressed his displeasure to the hotel manager that we're supposed to be working together with the securities from the federal government, not that we should be bounced out. But the manager was trying to be bossy, and he says, I am the manager here and I make the rules, blah, 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 blah. Okay. No wala. That continues, and then people start trooping in from all the place. Guess who the minister we're all waiting for is? It's Shaffy Bello. You can imagine, and she comes in with poise, elegance and all of that. And here comes Shaffy Bello, the minister we've all been waiting for. They started the press conference, and while they were at the press conference, here comes this guy who felt he could. It was time for questioning to what's name to address their questions to the minister and the cohort on the high table. And here comes this guy, Toye Bright, who was asking them questions that made them really feel uncomfortable. From, are we sure the money you're talking about is going to circulate, or the Nigerians are going to get it? Because we've always heard in time past that you people say you share money to Nigerians, but it's only on paper. It never really gets to them, never really gets to the grassroots. And he asked them a lot of other questions, and they said, he should hold them accountable. They were going to make sure that they circulated the money. And he said, are you trying to tell us that if this money doesn't go around, you do not mind losing your lives to it? They went silent. They were terrified. Like, who is this person? And while they were still trying to answer, they couldn't process it. They were shocked. And then goes gunshots here and there, and everybody went down. Apparently, the security from the federal government at the security unit had been taken care of. The security room had been well taken care of. They were actually gluttons. So, yeah, they said, I'm trying to remember how they say it. One thing must kill a man or something. I'm trying to remember. It is Yoruba always has a way of saying this thing of Nkote Yoruba Mojelumankpai or something, I don't know. So, yeah, the food was the way to their hearts, and they decided to use that to, get them to sleep for as long as. I actually thought they were dead until later when I realized that they went to sleep. So, Toye Bright and his men took over. Yeah. And before we knew it, it was all over the news that terrorists are taking over the Crystal Valley Hotel, and the minister and some other members were held captive. Mind you, he came really prepared. So Tony Bright went on air and tried to express why he was doing that, and also made it clear that, he was fighting for the average or the poor Nigerians. He had also called the commissioner of police that, Oga, I know you want to act smart and calling your boys to come and take over this place, raid this place. Let me tell you something. Tell them to back down. The man was trying to form magic. We don't back down. We don't back down. We don't connect on to terror. He said, if you don't back down, there's going to be a massacre. Which one do you want? And the Oga had to back down. There, we find Akwas, the class clown, like his boss called him, Regina Daniels. I was trying to wonder where does she come into play. But then we realized she was the head, and she was the one in charge of employing waiters to the hotel. So she already got him fired because he was trying to woo her, and she felt it was disrespectful. The terrorists took over the hotel, and before we knew it, I honestly do not understand how Regina Daniel got into their hands, but they were trying to take her away, to ship her away, when Akpos came to her rescue and dealt with them. That was somebody she had told that was fired that he should leave and he wasn't going to get his pay. He was now the one who came to rescue her. He was a knight in shining armor, and then he decided to protect her well, on the condition that she was going to pay him ₦1,000,000 after much bargain. And here goes Deyemi. While Deyemi was trying to call the police, he got attacked. He was hit on the head, and before we knew it, he passed out. But as a strong man that he was, in few minutes he was back up and attacking the terrorists. And he comes in contact with Regina and Akpos, AY, the comedian. While they were at that, they needed to understand who Toye Bright was. And Toye Bright had come to explain that he used to be a soldier, and that apparently was the minister's husband during one shootout a long time ago, had told them or planned that had told them that he shouldn't return alive, that they should kill him, but no one knew that he didn't die until that particular day. So everybody assumed that he was dead. And apparently, he had taken out his revenge on the minister's husband, that is Shaffy Bello's husband. That's why they say that karma is a bitch and he'll come back to bite whoever. Don't do evil. That's all I can say. So apparently he didn't die, and then he went for Shaffy's husband, you know, and then took all of the money from his accounts, made sure he lost his life through a very, very serious accident. Shaffy was so, the minister was so sad. She felt broken to realize that she found her husband's killer. While they were at that, we see that Tony Bright and his men were working behind the scene to make sure that Nigerians were getting a credit alert of 1 million naira each. And people were going to their social media to tweet it. Oh, they've gotten their own alert, they've gotten their alert, and all of that. And the minister and our members felt it wasn't the right thing to do. Obviously, they felt sad that you're emptying our account. Well, he was able to do that with the help of an insider who happens to be the minister's PA, but apparently was also working for Toye. So she made it easier for him. And from there, while Akpos and Deyemi and Regina were still trying to, fight the terrorists and all, they got into a trap and they were tied down. But it didn't take so long before they broke loose and started their journey again. While they were at that, we realized that Akpos found his way and he was almost out of the hotel. He had found a way out. He was almost out of the hotel when he got a call from Regina stating that he should please go back and not leave the hotel yet and try to lock the back door that connects into the hotel, that the police were trying to come in, and if they come in, they were walking into a massacre. But before he could get there, the police and Tony Bright's men had gotten hold of each other and all the policemen were killed. Mind you, a backstory to that, the person who had given the order was Kunle. And while it was so beautiful to see Toke Makinwa on this movie, while Toke Makinwa had told Kunle that, with all due respect, sir, I know you are my boss, but this is not the right thing to do. He kept on shouting, we don't, what's the name? We don't comply with terrorists. We don't negotiate with terrorists. This and this and that. I hope he had turned them by power. It was so shocking, even to me, when all the men were killed, all the policemen were killed. He just left the place embarrassed. That place was really sad because some of the policemen, most of them had families at home and they just lost their lives like that. While Tony Bright was at that and they were done transacting the money, we realized that they are taking a huge sum of the money for themselves. That is Tony and the PA to the minister. So apparently they were not people of integrity like we thought. Well, they got everything they needed and they exited. They had to exit the hotel. Sorry, I don't think exited is quite correct. I'm not sure. They had to exit the hotel. They went along with the crowd, and so the police couldn't pick them out. And here comes Akpos, still trying to woo Regina again. And this time around, Regina says, oh, the 1 million I promised, let me pay you. And he's like, oh no, please give it to your father as deposit for your bride price. I'm like, this man got some words here. While we're at that, we'll see that Deyemi goes back to the security room and he makes mockery of the security units from the federal government. Like, you see your life, you were even sleeping, And then the PA to the minister, she didn't get away with it. She got arrested. Toke caught up with her before she could get out of the premises. And after Tony Bright waited a few seconds, he zoomed off. He couldn't wait for her anymore. 3 months later, we see that Tony Bright surrendered himself to the police. And that scene was one of the most hilarious things. I kept on looking at it like the number of policemen that went to pick to get him arrested. Was it really necessary? But anyways, that was how the story went. I'll say the story is a great story. I love the movie and it's really, really nice. I think it was released last year, December in the cinema. And right now, I'm not sure if it's on Cover or Prime or Netflix. I want it in either one of those streaming platforms. So you can go see it. I'm not sure which streaming platform it's showing on. I'll probably put that in the comment section. But oh yeah, it was on Secute and Netflix. So you all go see it. It's a nice watch.